Today you're going to see a gorgeous wrap dress. It's a real wrap dress, neat fabrics, and the bodice is lined. I didn't even have to do a hack to get that to happen. The fit is amazing, the coverage of the neckline, top notch, and the fabric choice. Yeah, I'm just super excited to share this one. Hi sewing friends, I'm Karina from liftingpinsandneedles.com. Welcome to this channel that is all about sewing, limitless sewing. Now, first thing before we get into the sewing and the pattern, I want to say thank you from the bottom of my heart for all the kind messages, support, and encouragement in relation to my latest episode where I spill the beans on what's going to happen over here with my family, with the channel. If you've missed out and you don't know what I'm talking about, I'm not going to say anything. Just go and see that one and you'll know what's going on. Huge changes, big challenges, but I know that with your support, I'm going to be able to overcome everything and just push through like I always have. Takes a bit of an effort, but I think I'm strong enough and I want to be strong enough for you. I want to keep doing this that I'm doing, and your support just gives me all that boost that I need. So I'm super, super grateful for that. I'm so grateful for all of you about my brand new dress. I'm so happy with it. So excited to share. And I always knew that this was going to be amazing. Never had a doubt. I just saw the photos, saw the liner, and knew that that's going to fit me. I'm going to be so happy with this. I have a brand new wrap dress to share with you. It's made out of this beautiful single brush poly that I found in my stash. It's a real wrap dress. And what I'm talking about is the Hazelton wrap dress from Cashmerette Patterns. Now, I'm not sure how you pronounce it. I see it there and my mind wants to say Hazelton, but maybe it's Hazelton. I'm not sure. I'll probably say either or. But that's the way it's called. It's for knit fabrics. The bodice is fully lined, which I think is amazing. Then there's an elastic in there, clear elastic that stabilizes it. The fold over here is amazing. You're not going to get a plunging type of neckline that shows everything. There are bust cup sizes here, so you're not going to have that fitting problem. So it's amazing. There's a little collar sandwiched between the two layers of the bodice and the main fabric. So nice. Long sleeves, slim fitting sleeves, an amazing cuff detail over here that I wasn't able to do because I did not have enough fabric. But still, I think visually it's amazing. I love that cuff. I think it's super, super cute. But I know that if I wore a jacket on top, I think that might disturb me a little bit. I have a hard time wearing sleeves as it is. You know me. I'm like always like this. This is going to be a winter dress for me, and I'm going to take it with me on my trip to England where it's going to be cold. So the cuff, beautiful. Get it done. It's amazing. It's just that it wasn't going to work for me for various reasons. This is a real wrap dress. You can open it all the way up. You leave a little gap on the side seam on the right wearer's side. That's where you put the tie, and then you just wrap it around yourself. You can choose whether to do a long tie and a short tie or just do them both long. I did them both long because I wanted my tie to wrap all the way around. So it's your choice. The skirt is sort of A-line, not too full, not slim at all. I think it's just the perfect amount of volume. Now at the back, this is amazing. We have darts, waist darts on the bodice and the skirt. So you get this amazing back type of fit. No sway back issues, no extra fabric dangling around there. It's just amazing. I really love that. And then the length of the skirt is made to be midi. You'll see mine is not a midi dress. And of course, with any single pattern that you ever see, there are inseam pockets available. I don't do those, but I did look at the technique and it looks really easy. Now, this armhole is going to match the sleeves of the Grafton dress. It's a dress that has about 1,000 types of options. The Grafton is a pattern from the standalone patterns from the regular catalog. So if you do have the Grafton, the sleeves on that can fit this armhole here. So you can mash it up. You have more options for the sleeves. Now, this is a club pattern. A couple of years ago, Cashmerette only sold standalone patterns. They're still there. They still produce standalone patterns in their catalog that you can buy without having a club membership. But in the club, you get a monthly pattern as well. I've been a member of the club since probably 2022. I think it's great value. There's a pattern every month. There's fitting masterclasses with all the focus on curves because this is a pattern brand that does cup sizes C, D, E, F, G, H. So it fits really well for me. You don't need to do full bust adjustments. You know, everything in this area fits amazingly. I have just recently become an affiliate for Cashmerette Patterns, which is amazing for me. You know what being an affiliate means? I get to promote their work, share creative processes with you using their patterns. And if you like them at no cost to you, I receive a small commission from Cashmerette if you use my affiliate link. So it doesn't cost you any extra to support me using my link. And from now until Sunday, the 30th of November, Cashmerette is having a Black Friday sale, 25% off their All Access Club membership. When you use my link and my coupon code Karina, you get to choose a free PDF pattern of your choice from the regular catalog, from the standalone patterns. I will leave you my affiliate link for that if you want to join. It's the best price you'll see it to have access to all the patterns. When you join the All Access Club, you get to see all past patterns as well. There's about 59 patterns at this point, so it's amazing value. I'm going to repeat this if it sounds a little complex. It's really not. All Access Club membership, 25% off until the 30th of November. I have an affiliate link for that now. If you join the club using my affiliate link, I will receive a small commission from that. That's one way that you can support my work. And when you use my code Karina at checkout, you will also be able to get a free PDF pattern of your choice from the regular catalog. So I hope you take advantage. It's a great chance. I actually became a member years ago during a Black Friday sale. It's just the best time to do it. So when I saw this new pattern come up, I went straight into the club membership and I downloaded it and I made it. And I'm super, super happy to have it. It's amazing. You need light to medium weight knit fabric. I'd keep it on the lighter weight because it could get bulky if you use something too heavy. Stretch 50% horizontally, vertically 10%. There's quite a few fabric types that you can use here. The most recommended one was ITY. To add on to that, I would say single brush poly is the best. It's not that you can't use double brush poly. It's just that because it's brushed on both sides, the wrap skirt might get stuck to each other because it wraps and then it might not drape as beautifully. So the single brush poly is fine because the brush texture is just on the other side of the fabric and not the inside. That is my fabric choice, by the way. You can use an athletic knit. I think if you had a nice sweater knit that wasn't too sheer and had enough elastane, I think you could get away with it if you use a type of slip underneath for your skirt pieces as well. I'm not saying lining the skirt, but you know these little waist slips that exist. Another fabric I would use is rayon French terry, which is a really nice, amazing fabric. It's a little heavier, but not too heavy. It's heavier than the typical rayon spandex. And I think it has an amazing drape and body. I think that would work. Fabrics I would not touch are the rayon spandex, bamboo spandex, modal spandex. I think they're too lightweight, flimsy. I think the bodice would end up hitting lower. The whole dress would just end up drooping and it just would not look good. The neckline, I think, wouldn't really hold its shape properly. The cuffs, the collar, it's just not a fabric I would go for this design. Now, fabrics I wouldn't use are Ponte Roma, Scuba. That's just way too heavy. Just my opinion here. You need some clear elastic and some fusible interfacing for the collar and the cuffs. Sizing goes from 0 to 32 US, but it's separated into two drafts, 0 to 16 and 12 to 32. From size 0 to size 32, you will have these amazing bust cup sizes, which is great. C, D, E, F, G, H, amazing. All the sizes have them. Now, when I plot my measurements here on the 0 to 16 size range draft, mine are exactly like in between the 12 and the 14. If size 13 existed, that would be my size. So just looking at the ease and everything, instead of going down a size, I decided to just go to the 14. When you're in between, you can sort of choose, and I do that depending on the style and the ease. For a fitted bodice like this, I just prefer to go to the 14. And I'm perfectly fine with that. It's going to be fitted around here, obviously. 3 inches of negative ease. Around the waist, 0, because you're adjusting it, you're tying it to fit your waist. That's always adaptable, as you know, with wrap dresses. And then at the hips, slightly A-lined, you're going to have around 3 inches of ease at the full hip, and then it goes wider at the bottom. Really nice. Now, fitting adjustments. I know that the bodice is short. I did some flat pattern measurements, kept it pretty conservative. And there's a shorten and lengthen line on the bodices. Cut it apart, spread it, added 1 inch to the front and the back. Now, when you do that, you distort this shape a little bit. You just have to just make it smooth again. Very easy process to do. And I was sure that this was going to fit me correctly. And actually, the bodice seam that unites to the skirt is exactly at my waist. If I hadn't have done this, I would have ended up slightly empire. So it's something I know I need to do. I'm taller. The midi dress here, For me, it wasn't feasible for many reasons. I only had 2 meters of fabric. I knew the only way I could get my dress was if I made the skirt shorter, which fits me to a T because I like shorter dresses. I generally feel the best and most comfortable with something at the knee, at the mid knee. So I took off a lot of length. Wrap dresses never have hanger appeal. I find on a hanger, they can look a little bit messy. You don't know what's going on. I have these ties right here. But anyway, this is a full wrap dress. It opens up completely. I have this side coming in through the opening on the bodice right here, the right side. And you can see the lining on the back is black. I didn't have enough to self-line the whole bodice. I was able to self-line the front, which I suppose is the most important because it's the visible part. So I'm really happy I did that. So that's sandwiched. The collar is sandwiched in between the main and the lining. You can see that my under collar ended up being the main fabric, and then the upper collar ended up being this beautiful leather look knit that I had. The color goes perfectly. It was such a find. So in between here, there's clear elastic. It's so, so nice. And from there come the tie. Super neat. It's sort of enclosed into there. There is a skirt sewn on, seam allowance pressed down. I tucked that down there by hand so it doesn't flap about. So that was easy. Right here where the bodice seam is, there's a few waist studs there for shaping, and same on the skirt. I have my regular sleeve, nothing special with the sleeve, missing the cuff. You'll see how to put the bodice together. It's just so easy. And I'm so happy I didn't have to hack it to be lined because I would have. I usually like lined bodices and I didn't need to do anything because the pattern was designed like that. So that's just golden. Let's see this one on styled a few ways on its own with some toppers, non-conventional things. But yeah, I'm just so happy. This is my brand new Hazelton dress from Cashmerette Patterns. It's a wrap dress. It's one of the club patterns. And I sewed a straight size 14 with the 0 to 16 draft. There's also a separate draft from 12 to 32. It's a real wrap dress. The coverage on the front skirt goes all the way to the side. So you can see the wind blowing here. It's not going to flap open. It's very good. I ran out of the main fabric, and so my ties are a contrast plum color. It's the same color in the print. So I was very fortunate to have that knit that looks like leather. It's a really nice dress. I love the shape of the skirt. It's not fitted. It's a type of an A-line skirt, not too full, just like I like it. There's a separate bodice seam that attaches to the skirt. And I lengthened my bodice by 1 inch all the way around. I'm just a little bit taller. And I sewed the longer ties so that they wrap all the way around. There's also an option where you can sew a shorter tie and then it doesn't go all the way around. But I really love this. I prefer the tie to be all the way, and so you can really see, especially that I have a contrast fabric. The bodice fit is amazing. There are back darts on the waist of the bodice and the skirt. And on the right wearer's side, there's a little opening on the side seam of the bodice where the tie goes through right there. Very easy process to do. This bodice is fully lined and it feels amazing on. That neckline covers beautifully. It's stabilized with clear elastic on the inside, and I was able to self-line the bodice on the front. That collar, beautiful. The same contrast fabric. I didn't have enough to do it from the main fabric anyway. And I really love the long sleeves. Now there is a little cuff on the sleeve if you want to do that. I didn't have fabric for that, so I just hemmed mine normally. I'm so in love with that collar. It's so, so beautiful. I love the coverage of this V. It's not too deep. It's just perfect. I don't need a pin. That clear elastic holds it close to the body beautifully. And it's really easy to do. You can see how to do that on my video. This dress was a blast to make. I'm so happy with the fit. I have the CD cup option, but remember you have EF and GH as well. And it's just all hearts from me for this dress. I think it's a classic. I think this style can suit a lot of people. It's really comfortable in this knit. I have a single brush poly over here. I didn't do a double brush poly because then it could stick to each other and then the skirt wouldn't flow beautifully because of the wrap. I'm excited to get the result here. And check out these boots. I have these purple plum type boots. I've had them for like, I don't know, 12, 15 years. And it's the same color of my ties and my collar. And yeah, you know I love my shoes. I have a lot of colors in bags and shoes because I really love them. And I'm so happy to have boots that match exactly, which I don't have much clothes that match these boots. So this is amazing for me. I'm going to be taking my dress when I head off to England for this winter. end of the year trip, and I'll be wearing it with a big huge jacket, but when it gets not too cold, I hope I can wear it out just on its own and I can really show it off. I'm so happy with it. Here is my gorgeous wrap dress. I've pulled out my leather jacket. I really like this one because it's sort of slim fitting and it doesn't have too many bells and whistles. It's great with dresses. And about the sleeves, the long sleeves underneath are perfect. I have a hard time wearing sleeves as it is. I knew if I'd sewn the cuff, I would be uncomfortable with that detail underneath my sleeves. I really like these two silhouettes together, super classic. And you can't go wrong with a black leather jacket over anything, really. I know the leather jacket was more traditional, but check out this color combination. I think purple and red are beautiful. Not traditional, but pretty striking, I would say so myself. I like this coat because it covers the length of the hem of the dress. That's why I like shorter dresses. I don't like the look of longer dresses with shorter coats. Sleeves of the dress are comfortable underneath the sleeves of the coat. The collar of the dress doesn't get in the way of this lapel either. I think this is gorgeous and I would definitely wear this out like this when it's appropriate. So love it. I mean, the red shoes, everything. I think it's not a color combination a lot of people would. This is what I love and I feel amazing. This is the collar piece for the Hazelton wrap dress. The upper and the undercollar cut from the same. Make sure you have the grain line correct here. And as usual, I'm block fusing. I have already interfaced both of them. The instructions say to interface both layers and I totally agree for a knit. They're both lightweight. It would be super floppy if I just left them. Usually with a woven, you just interface the upper collar. But for this one, I for sure would have interfaced both pieces, even if the instructions didn't call for it, but they do. So we're going to have a nice little collar here. Using pretty floppy fabric, single brush poly. It's pretty lightweight. So there we go. I have the pieces exactly in the same size as the original pattern piece, and I'll be ready to sew this collar and it won't end up smaller or deformed. Here are the main bodice pieces for the Hazelton wrap dress. This is the front. It's got the classic wrap over shape over here. This is a CD cup size option. This is the back. It's cut on the fold. There are little waist studs over here on this design. I've got long sleeves. The long sleeves have a cuff. I think it's a really cute feature. I just didn't have enough fabric for it. I did drew the hem shape over here so I could fold it up. And I did add some length to the sleeve just to make sure it ends up correctly for me. I did need to add length anyway. And up there are the two collar pieces, main and under collar, cut from the same pattern piece. And they're both interfaced as you saw me do previously. These are the lining pieces. You use the same main pattern pieces for this. It's not different. I was able to cut the same from the main fabric for the front. So that section is self-lined as such. But for the back, I did not have enough of the main fabric. So never worry, it's ideal to self-line. It just looks nicer, but no one's going to see the lining. And I'm okay with lining with black at the back. Here you can see the same dart. It's got all the same little marks and notches. It's all the same. Whenever I'm not self-lining, I try to find a fabric of similar weight and stretch as the main fabric so it doesn't feel weird. Here are the skirt pieces. The back is simple. It's cut on the fold. It's also got waist studs there on the top. The front is cut twice. It's quite a big piece because it wraps over. And the way to know which is the side seam is where you're going to have notches for the pockets. There are inseam pockets in this pattern. Then the other side is the one that you fold over and finish. So just make sure you know which side is which. I did mark my notches for my pocket seam, but I am not doing the pockets. The pocket technique is super cool. I just don't like pockets on dresses, so I 99% of the time skip them. This is the last piece I hadn't shown you, and these are the ties. You can choose to do one short tie and one long tie, or you can make both of them long. I'm going to make both long. If you want to make one shorter, there's a little line where you can make one shorter than the other. Now, I did not have any of this left over. Once I found this matching leather look jersey, I went ahead and recut my undercollar of the same fabric as the tie. Look, it's like a really deep plum color. It looks like leather, but it's not. And it's actually part of what's in there, so I think it's going to look really cool. Collar is going to be contrasting and so are the ties. I'm going to stabilize the main layer of the shoulders here. I've just cut little strips of interfacing to make it less bulky. Same type of interfacing I used for the collar pieces, lightest one I could find. And now I'm not going to have stretch here in this area, and it's going to fit nicely and it's not going to start sagging when I sew on the sleeve later. Now I've got my back extended here right sides up, and I put my 2 front pieces right sides together over here. I line them at the shoulder seams. I'm going to get those sewn, and I'm going to repeat the exact same thing for the lining layers. I'm going to do that off camera. Shoulder seams sewn. Now I'm sewing darts. These are all the same. There's back darts on the back bodice. They're very short. Always start from the tip. That's how I like it. Ends up neater and going off to the widest part. And there's 2 on the main and 2 on the lining, so 4 little darts. For the main layer, I'm going to press the darts to the side. For the lining, I'm going to press them to the center, so when they're together, they can nest. Super easy collar. I've got both pieces right sides together. You can see there's a bit of a curved shape here, and this is where you have reference marks for the center back and the shoulders. So make sure you don't sew this one and just sew these short ends and the straight edge on the top there. We're doing this with 3/8 seam allowance. Get this sewn, and then we're going to flip it to the right side. After doing this, we're going to go ahead and baste it along the neckline of the main layer. Trimming the seam allowance, I don't want to leave all that in there. Flipping it to the other side, that's how it looks. It looks pretty messy. I'm going to go ahead, tidy it up, press this open, make it all super neat. And then I'm going to head over to my main bodice and just pin it on. Here's my main bodice, extended shoulder seams, the back, the 2 fronts. There's the center back, and here is my collar. I have a little mark there for the center back. I want the upper collar facing up as well as the main fabric facing up. The under collar is going to be touching here. Now remember, I have contrast. I'm going to leave the main fabric as the under collar. I mean, I could do either. It would be fine. It's just because I'm doing the ties in that same leather look jersey, I'm going to leave it like this. So upper collar facing up, main fabric facing up. And we're going to align it here. And this goes around this way. And on the front neckline, you have a mark until where this collar reaches. So I'm going to go ahead and pin and baste so that this can act as one piece. And then once that's there, I'm going to put the lining layer on the top, and that's when we're going to sew and sandwich this collar between the main and the lining. Here is my collar basted on. I did it by hand just because it was easy. The end of the collar matches that little yellow mark I have under there. So that is all hand basted on. Now I have a layer that's exactly the same as this, only it's the lining fabric, and I'm going to put that on top. So the lining layer and the main layer, these are right sides together. And in doing this, we're going to sandwich that little collar in there. So I'm going to pin all this neckline there, match everything up. And then we're going to sew this together, 3/8 seam allowance. I'm doing this with a narrow zigzag, so it's got a little bit of give. After going all the way around this neckline, we're going to sew elastic into this area so it stays nice and firm and it doesn't stretch out. This is clear elastic that I'm going to sew into this neckline to keep it firm. Now, this is pretty stiff. It's what I've got. I've been using this for years from Amazon. You can see it does stretch if you pull it a lot, but it's not super, super stretchy. So as I sew it on, I'm not going to be stretching it. I'm just going to leave it as it is. I'm not going to be giving it tension or anything. And it's going to keep the neckline as it should be without it looking wavy and stretched out, but it's going to prevent it from gaping. I'm going to do a trick that's going to make the fabric roll to the inside like understitching, but it's not understitching. So I'm going to find the main layer of the fabric, which is this one. Easy to see because I've got black lining, so I know this is a lining layer. So I'm going to be sewing on the main side, and I'm going to be sewing this clear elastic there slightly from that stitch, slightly on top of it, like 1/8 of an inch, that way. And then when I wear the garment, it's naturally going to roll the lining to the inside. It's not going to be right on the edge, and then I don't need to understitch. I've done this many times. It's worked wonders before with sports bras and other things, and it's so nice. I'm going to leave the clear elastic a little further away from this raw edge here, there, just because I don't want this in the way of me putting the strap in later. So about 3/8 of an inch, I'm going to start there. I go putting the elastic on as I go, and I just pin it here at the beginning so it doesn't move anywhere once I start. This is a narrow zigzag I've been using before, but now it's going to be an actual zigzag. Here, I'm going to use 2.5 on the width, and on the length, I'm going to keep it at 3. Now here you can really see what I'm doing because the fabric has a lighter tone. So you're going to see the elastic past the seam a little bit. After sewing the clear elastic all along this neckline, I flipped it so it's the wrong sides together. And here we have side seams, here's the armhole. I basted all of this together by hand just to keep it in place without moving. What I did with the side seams was serge this together here, wrong sides together. That's the same for the 2 sides of the fronts and the backs right here. And then later, I'm going to sew the side seams like normal and then press the seams open. On one of the sides, we're going to leave a gap for the tie. But what comes next is to make the tie and sandwich it between this little piece that we have here. You can see it's open. I have one of the ties here. I've already sewn it, flipped it. There's nothing interesting to see there other than a really long seam and flipping it. This is the side that's finished right there. And so I have the raw edge of the tie. Now let's bring this bodice like this. Start with any side, it doesn't matter. This is the right side of the bodice. This is the wrong side of the bodice. It's the same fabric, but this is the right side. So I want to place this raw edge here against that, right there up to the top of that seam. And you're supposed to have hanging there 3/8 of an inch free so that you can sew on the skirt later. So putting that right against there, I'm going to pin it only to the right side of the bodice, not this one that's down there. Raw edge right there. Then we're going to open this up and we're going to bring this inner part of the bodice over like that. Align it here. And we've sandwiched the tie in between both of these layers right here. And now we sew it. And then we flip it and the tie is going to be super nice finish. It's going to come from inside of this area. I've been to the sewing machine and I did that little seam, and now when we flip it, the tie is going to come out through there and it's super neat. Remember, we still have this section so that we can sew on the skirt, but this top edge is right there and it's going to be very neat. I'm going to do the exact same thing on the other side. I made sure to put this on my body to confirm that this is the right side of the body because this is where we need to leave a little gap for the tie here. So you can see my edges are serged, both layers together for the main and the lining. I'm going to press these open. From the armhole area, I'm going to sew down to that little mark that we have on the pattern. Leave the gap and then pick up sewing the last little 3/8 there, which is where we're going to sew on the skirt. And we're going to have this little piece that's going to be wide enough to fit our strap right there. This is for the right wearer side. On the left wearer side, we just sew the side seam as normal and press the seams open. And then after doing this, everything's super easy. Just attach on the skirt, sew in your sleeves. You could have sewn your sleeves on the flat if you wanted. I never do that. This is going to be the side seam on the right side. We're going to open up these seam allowances. And so this stays fixed as an open area. We're going to do some top stitching just around there to keep the seam allowances flat and not moving about. So that's basically the bodice. I'm going to finish this top stitching here around this little area, super easy. And then I have the whole bottom of the bodice here, both raw edges. I'm going to match it up with the skirt. It's going to match 1-to-1. And I feel like I'm basically... The fact that Cashmerette now has an affiliate program is really, really cool for me. You are going to see me sew this brand much more. I had sewn a few of them in the past. I will leave you my playlist of Cashmerette I've done in the past. My favorites, Hollyoak. This one, I love this sundress. This is the Hollyoak bodice. It's just that I hacked it not to have the button placket, but everything's the same. The princess seams, the neckline, the straps, it's all the same. And then instead of having the fuller skirt, I just drafted a pencil skirt there. And it's got elastic on the back, which means you don't need to have a zipper to get in. You just slide it on. This is a cotton sateen. It's fully lined. And I made the waistband black, just so it highlights the waist. And it's amazing. I really like this pattern. This is one of my favorites. This is the original Hollyoak, beautiful. This one's got the plackets down this has got the button placket down the front. The bodice is beautiful. There's a waistband in between. It's elasticated at the back. And this one's got a fuller skirt. The bodice is fully lined. The straps are amazing. Covers any strap. There's no worries here. Never have to worry about that. And this is a gorgeous dress I've really enjoyed wearing over the years. I've had it since 2019 and it's still going strong. I'm biased towards this one because it's a sundress and I love them, but there's so many other great patterns as well. I think I've sewn about 6 or 7 of the patterns that are in the regular catalog, but I'm going to start sewing the club patterns much more. Sign for the All Access Club membership. You get 25% off through November the 30th, and an extra pattern for free from the regular catalog when you type out Karina at checkout. Leave you my affiliate link or below. I'll leave you now. I'm going to go keep sewing. Have an amazing weekend, and I'll see you next week. Bye.